Hey guys, on the couch is Neysa from Digital Waitaha, and we are today talking about advertising your kids online. We're not
Yeah.
talking about putting them up on Trade Me
No,
as
not
much as we'd like to sometimes.
no, not talking about that. Yeah, definitely. I think all of us have gotten to that point
Uh-huh.
sometimes going, I wonder how much I could get for this kid,
Yeah.
especially if I dress them up really nicely.
Uh-huh.
But no, it's more thinking about what it is that we're telling the world when we are posting our photos of our kids online and what it is that our kids are telling the world when they're posting photos of themselves online. So there's good and bad to think about in this situation.
Yeah. All right. So, can you give me a scenario? I know you have one that's led you sort of to this
Yeah.
topic.
Yeah, so I've kind of switched in how I phrase this to really think about how are we advertising our kids because I've been doing a lot of parent presentations lately. The last 2.5 weeks, I've been through a bunch of different schools here in Waitaha. And in the last school I was in, I had some great lunchtime conversations with parents. And they gave me an example of how easy it is for people to just find other people online. And this particular young girl she played netball. She has obviously her netball name on the back of her jersey. She has her first name as well. So it's very easy to know where a lot of these netball places are playing games. She also cross posts. So she's a year 9 student. She cross posts on TikTok. So it's easy to know what TikTok she has up there. And apparently she really liked doing a lot of dances. And as she was out doing playing netball, and the group of friends that she was with, they all left. She was kind of back behind packing up her bags. She had somebody approach her and say, "Hey, first name of the person, I saw your TikTok. You're really awesome. I have this amazing setup. Why don't you come over to my place and we can create some TikToks together?" And this was a much older person that approached her.
Oh.
So I didn't know the person at all in real life, but just posted on public channels. And you can hear that. And then I heard another story where, like, yeah, that's pretty bad. But my daughter was on Snapchat. And this is not just happening to girls. These particular two stories, I have stories about boys as well, but these are just the two that were most relevant because they've come up
Yep.
recently. Um, and she told me that she knew that she was talking to an old guy pretending to be a 14-year-old. And I asked, so the mom asked, how did you know that? And she's like, well, I'm not going to tell you what the girl said because I don't want to give anybody tips on how to talk to a 14-year-old girl if you're an older person. But I was like, that's really clever. But then she said, I asked her, why did they start talking to you? And they're like, oh, they just saw one of my videos or they saw one of the things that I was doing and were just saying, oh, I see that you're into this and da 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 da. And again, on public channels. So it's just having a think about what type of information are we advertising when we're posting publicly, and also what are the type of information are children advertising when they're posting publicly, because you don't know who's going to see it. And even if
Mm.
it's on a private channel, stuff like that can always be screenshot and shared. So just
Yes.
make sure that what type of private information are you comfortable being shared to the rest of the world.
I guess for those kids as well who are big posters, they always have to keep in their minds that although you say in real life, this is still real
Yeah.
life, isn't it? Because even though you're on a keyboard or you're on a phone, it's still
Yeah.
in real life, and it's a record
Yeah.
for people to go back and check on. If you're applying for jobs and that sort of things, then all this
Yeah.
stuff could come back to haunt you. But on a positive note, it could also
Help you.
help you.
Yes, and that's the other thing. Again, how are you advertising yourself? And I mean this in a positive way. I talk to recruiters. Every parent presentation I go to, I was at one, we had 80 some people show up. So there was a lot of business owners in there, and also one recruiter. And they're talking about how when they see these young people and they have social media, obviously it's bad. It's pretty easy to say no for that one. But if they see positive things, like how are they volunteering? What are they doing in their spare time? What are all the positive things that they're doing to promote themselves? So it's really great to see a lot of young people now are starting to use social media as a way to promote all the positive things that they do in their space, in the real world, and also which is also online. And that's actually showing my age when we sit there and talk about the real world versus the online world,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
for younger people, you're exactly right.
yeah.
It's just the world. So it's like thinking about social media as being a way to promote all the awesome things that you do. And also you as well as adults, think of the last job that you had. I'm pretty sure they were looking, well, you obviously have this great social media, but just in general, think of your last job that you had. pretty certain if it was recently, probably in the last 5 years, they were looking at your social
Yeah,
media.
for sure. Absolutely. All right. The good and the bad of social media. Nice one. Good chat. All
Yep.
the details and including Neysa's contacts for anything digitalwaitaha.org.
Org.nz.
Nice. Good to catch up.
Great. Thank you.